keep it moving on to the middleweight fight between Francis Carmont and Tom Lawlor. It was between this fight and the Sakara disqualification as for which one was the most controversial fight of the night. It went split decision to Francis Carmont, 29-28, 28-29, 29-28. Sal D'Amato being the only one ruling it for Tom Lawlor, and Cardo Urso and Tony Weeks judging it for Francis Carmont. I was actually looking at a story that kind of compiled a bunch of media scores for that fight, and out of 9 media people, you had a couple people from SureDog, including friend of our podcast we had on a few weeks ago, TJ DeSantis, a couple people from Bleacher Report, MMA Junkie, MMA Fighting, MMA Weekly, kind of the who's who of MMA media. Out of those 9 people, 8 ruled it for Tom Lawlor. 5 of those people, over half, saying it was 27-30 Lawlor. It was a close fight, but I saw Lawlor winning it. I actually gave the first and the third to Lawlor and gave the second round a 10-10. What did you guys think happened? Do you all think the judges made the right decision in giving the win to Francis Carmont?
I personally think they did the right thing. Lawlor controlled him throughout the fight, but all he did was basically cage hump him. He was trying takedowns, but he wasn't really doing nothing but holding them, trying. I think Carmont landed more punches. He definitely did more damage to him. The only thing Lawlor did was basically just hold him against the cage, trying for a takedown here and there, but basically was just holding on to him. He definitely didn't want to trade with him. I don't know. I really just think they got the right call on that one.
I'll be honest with you. This fight was awful. Absolutely awful. What a waste of a fight.
Rubbish.
I mean, we've seen Francis Carmont fight before, and I watched him fight in Sweden when I went to the event and saw him fight live. And then his fight, I can't remember who it was, but his last fight before this one, and he looked good. He looked like his grappling looked great. This was just a horrible, horrible fight. Lawlor is boring as hell to watch. I mean, Jesus. So for me, was the decision correct? I didn't care, to be honest with you, because for me, neither guy did enough to clearly say I won that fight. They say about leaving it in the judges' hands. Now, if it was clearly one guy dominated, I'd say yeah, fair enough. But they both were awful, and I was glad that Carmont got the decision because that's who I picked to win. So I didn't really care any other way. It was just an awful, awful fight for me.
Man, awful fight for sure. And what we learned is that not only is judging, like we thought it was, a travesty, but I think that Tom Lawlor kind of had a decent game plan. He just wanted to win after having that spectacular knockout on his birthday against Jason McDonald. He just wanted to continue that streak. Carmont is one of those guys that's talked about a lot, being a freak of nature, 6'3", trains with George St. Pierre. And his game plan, Carmont's, in this fight was power kick. He was just power kicking, power leg kicking, barely throwing any punches. Tom Lawlor had the better boxing, the more pressure. I really felt that Tom Lawlor should have won this fight, and you guys have it broken down to a scientific thing, who won which round by what. But as a whole, that's how I look at a fight. I felt that Tom Lawlor deserved that nod. And on the flip side of that token, he didn't really do enough to kind of put the nail on the coffin of Francis Carmont. So it is what it is. I think that Lawlor should have won, but I'm not mad that he didn't.
I've got to say, when in doubt, just do the fucking rematch. But I do agree it was a boring fight. So, I'm not even sure who would be interested in it besides Tom Lawlor and Francis. Because, if the question is, was the decision correct? Well, hell yeah, because it was split. I mean, it was a split decision, so yeah, it was correct. Just like all of us are, split on this shit deep down somewhere. I'm not even Carmont or Tom Lawlor are 100% sure they won or lost. So fuck it. Let's set aside 15 minutes somewhere and have them go 3 more rounds. They looked gassed when they were coming out in their walkouts. All right. So they need to both get together. Their teams need to get together, and they need to time their cycles better. All right. Because they're both gassed.
They're menstrual cycles.
No, you guys know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm talking about that Brazilian bomba sold by Renato Laranja, dude. On
Your
the
bicycles?
I'm talking about the HGH shit that made the new Rambo movie possible in 2006, alright? And with that, I'll just say, Lawlor versus Carmont. The decision was correct. It was split. I honestly, I wish we saw more draws. I wish more judges would pull the trigger and call draws, you know? And this was a perfect example of why. Thank you.
Yeah, I just say let them get all hopped up on bath salts and fight each other in the ring. That'd be way more entertaining than what I agree with you guys. That was a pretty boring fight. It was a lose-lose in all situations. It was a boring fight. The wrong fighter won.